following 4 Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
All right. We are back once again, aren't we?
Yes, we are. For the first time in a long time, we are back to being ourselves. No, we've been dealing with things we've been dealing with in each of our worlds. It's kind of kept us out. You know, some of us dealt with loss, some of us dealt with just time. But guess what, y'all? We back here to bring y'all the Cheap Pop Podcast yet again. My man, a lot has happened since the last time that we spoke to each other. And there's only one place that we really need to start. And I think it's in a galaxy far, far away. Where a man and a child skeeted across this universe and gave us stories and throwbacks and wow, everything that we could ever want. John Favreau, I am not worthy to even say your name. Season 2 of The Mandalorian was lit. It was fire from beginning to end. I kind of wish we could have talked about it episode by episode, but we'll give them what we can here in this first hour.
Give them the truckload this time.
Exactly. Why don't we give them the overall thoughts for how we kind of see this season going? Because I thought the season was an A+ effort. What were your thoughts, John?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong at all. Finishing it immediately after I finished the final episode, of course, you have like that moment after you finish it, after you finish a show or something, and it's just like, this is the best fucking thing I've ever watched. So you got to let it brew, obviously. And then after the fact, it hasn't really changed at all for me. Like, looking back on it, I can say season 2 of The Mandalorian is not only an extremely strong season as an individual, but has proven, like, for me, like, I finishing it was just like, this is probably one of the best seasons of any show I've seen in a long time. Not to say that I've been watching shit, but to say that this was just fucking stellar.
Yeah.
Like, the whole way through, from episode 1 all the way to the final episode. It was...
And... Hold on. There we go.
Oop.
No, my screen froze on me. Hold on.
Oop, go for it.
Yeah, this thing is just... Yeah. Hold on. Cut video. Cut back on it. All right, cut your video and then cut it back on. And let's see if we can get you back.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, did I freeze completely?
Yeah, you froze completely.
Let's see. Oh, no.
There
we go.
And then just click your video back on, and let's see if we can get you back.
There we go. How about now?
There we go. All right.
There we go. Okay.
All right.
There we go. Mid-thought.
Mid-thought. So, yeah, but no, we got the thought. We got the audio part of the thought, but we just lost the video. Sorry for the podcast listeners on Spreaker. My bad. But needless to say, yes. Like you said, everything from the beginning to the end. And what's funny is here. Okay, so here's a quaint little story about The Mandalorian. So I watched The Mandalorian with my daughter. She's like one of the, as anybody knows who's listened to the shows or anything, she's done Maddie's movie moment here. She's one of the most favorite people I know in my life. And so we watched The Mandalorian together because I want to expose her to Star Wars. And I think that Mandalorian is definitely a great entry point for somebody of her age range of about 10 to 13 that may not necessarily have a huge sci-fi interest. But it tells a story. And, of course, Baby Yoda is her most favorite thing in the whole wide world. Grogu, as us adults call him. And
marketable as fuck.
Exactly. And so it gave us a reason to watch together. And so I would wait for whenever she came out. She spends 2 weeks with her mom, 1 week with me. and I would wait for her to come out before I would watch the next episode. So I would always starting from like we watched the first 2 episodes together. And I think from that point on, I was at least 2 weeks behind, from everybody else. So of course the last episode comes, and the internet is going crazy over this last episode and these last scenes, and I'm like. Now, mind you, I managed to avoid any spoilers at all until I actually watched it. But I have a friend of mine. His name is Suave. He's done the show West Coast Bias with me. And he straight up real tells me, like, every time we see anything about Mandalorian on the internet, there's some comment from him to me underneath it going, Kevin, have you watched it yet? Have you watched it? This is a man who's been one of my best friends for over 35 years, and this man was refraining from posting any spoilers onto his Facebook site just to make sure I did not see them before I saw the ending to Mandalorian.
Real one right there.
That's some real friendship there. But needless to say, after I saw it, and after I wiped my eyes with tears of joy, I wrote him back that I had finally seen it, and it was okay for him now to post whatever he wanted to about it on the internet, because he's one of those dank memesters. So he had a bunch of memes he wanted to share, and he was finally able to share them. But yeah, that's my little story about The Mandalorian, because I don't think I saw the final episode till shortly after Christmas, which was like about a couple of weeks after it actually released on the Disney Plus. Oh man! But this was a season that was full of stars, from Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan, to Sasha Banks and her role. I forget what the name of her particular. I'm trying to check it here.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot it too.
But yeah. But needless to say, but yeah. So from Sasha Banks to finally seeing Boba Fett, Boba Fett,
Rosario motherfucking Dawson. Don't
Ahsoka Tona, baby. You can't you can't get a better. And the fact that she's going to be playing Ahsoka in the show,
cherry on top. Cherry on top.
Oh, cherry on top. She played the part beautifully. She's definitely a Jedi in my books. She's one of those people that was so badass prior to taking the role, kind of like Samuel L. Jackson, that she just couldn't be anything but a badass Jedi. Like her whole personality just suits that.
Perfect. Fits right into the role. Like I more or less had an experience not like too opposite, but inverse to yours. Like I've said it before, my whole family is into Star Wars religiously. Like I cannot put into words how much my family as a whole is into Star Wars. So new episode of The Mandalorian comes out, and suddenly it's like I'm a kid again, and we're all congregating around the TV, like as a big family. And so like obviously like we all mark out at the same moments. Like I loved the whole season, but nothing gave me goosebumps like seeing Ahsoka Tano's lightsaber's light and then her visage sort of pull from the shadows. Like that one moment, me and my whole family just started screaming, just marking out to the top degree. It's not comparable. It's fucking awesome. And like like you,
it was your Luke, I'm your father moment.
Yeah, really, it was. Yeah, it was. But you had that wait on waiting to see that big final twist at the end, that big turn. And for me, like obviously, I'm not gonna say it was too different, but this whole time I'm someone I keep up with the dirt sheets, I keep up with the background stuff. I'm not gonna say I get every spoiler I can, but I'm aware of that stuff. And so the whole time I'm sitting here like it's gonna be Cal Kestis. It's like at the end, it's not going to be anyone other than Cal Kestis. They revealed that he was in The Mandalorian. It's coming off of the amazing game that was Fallen Order, and it made so much more sense. And slowly, the moment that it all starts to happen, you realize that it is absolutely fucking not Cal Kestis that's going to come out. Like the funny part in the whole fucking show, bar none, was what was one X-Wing. What the fuck is one X-Wing gonna do? And then Moff Gideon is over there looking like he's about to fucking shit his pants because he knows what the hell's coming.
That was a great moment. And let me give it up to Giancarlo Esposito. as an actor, the man is amazing. Just first and foremost, the man is amazing. But his portrayal of Moff Gideon, oh, it sent chills down my spine. There was a meme that I read on Facebook that I really enjoyed, where it was him saying, it was a story that he told about talking to his daughters as they watched The Mandalorian, and they're like, and they beg him and plead with him not to kill Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, and he's like, I'll chop that little big-eared bastard in half.
Yeah, he's like, I will push that little big-eared bastard. It's so good. Oh man, it's so good.
The real talk of it was the reveal of the Darksaber was amazing. The fact that I love the last little moment when Pedro Pascal or Jen is like, here, just take it, and he's like, she knows she can't, like she has to fight you for it, like, and I'm like, that's so jacked up, like that. So that's that last evil dude, like.
Yeah, that last, like that middle finger as I'm getting hauled out to jail moment,
pretty much. And so when it comes down to it, it was a masterpiece from beginning to end. But getting into that final scene, I'll be honest with you. Up until he took off the whatchamacallit, I had an idea, but there was no confirmation. Like there were so many people it could have been. Now, of course, yes, the green lightsaber should have tipped me off. Like that should have been clue number one, smacking me in the back of the head. Hello, but it wasn't.
Right.
Like my brain still was like, well, it still could be somebody else. But no, it couldn't. It couldn't have been anybody but Luke.
Now
now
you know how I caught it?
How?
Okay, look, this is probably going to be like some of the nerdiest shit that I've ever said. But you're going to get ready for this shit. So, one, the moment that he lifts up his saber, you can see he has the exact same glove as Luke. The moment he gets chopped off in the original trilogy, he pulls up his hand, and you can literally see it's the same glove. But even better is this one. Everybody knows about the different forms of fighting with a lightsaber, right? Form 0, Form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You know how they revolve around different things, right? So Form 1, yeah. Form 1 is the mastery of deflecting shit. Like you know how in every Star Wars movie you see the Jedis do the trademark, like lift the sword and then just deflects the fucking bullet haywire.
Yeah.
That is Form 1. That is the style that Luke Skywalker is known for being better at than anyone else who has ever used the form in the history of Star Wars lore. Much like Obi-Wan is known for being the master of Form 3. But Luke is known for Form 1. And the moment that he comes out and gets into combat, before they even show his belt or his hand, he immediately, against all of them, just starts deflecting all of their bullets against them before anything. And instantly it clicked for me, like, nah, that's not anyone other than fucking Luke. Because that approach is like quintessential Form 1. That's quintessential Form 1, and it was instantly like, oh, that's just fucking Luke. No way. And so that for me was my moment, like, that's Luke.
I can tell you. Again. Yeah, it's okay. I'll say, but it's great in the sense that that's the kind of lore that's the kind of things that we want people to know. That's why we have all of these different Star Wars games. That's why we have all of these different Star Wars books. It's because we want people to not just know because of the green lightsaber, not just know because, he fight, but know all of those little pieces of information. That's what makes the Star Wars universe so great, at least to me, in the sense that it allows you to be able to understand these characters on a deeper level than just, that's Luke. Mm-hmm. Luke is Vader's son. Like, no. Like we understand that Luke fights in a certain style. We understand that there were people who knew because of the hood, basically the
Yeah.
Damn it, why am I losing the word on this? Because of the
cloak.
cape, basically, that he wore, the cloak that he wore. I don't know why I was losing that name. My bad.
It's all good.
But the cape that he was wearing, that it was Luke, and that's the type of things that are gonna make The Mandalorian possibly one of the best series, short of maybe like Rebels, that's ever been put out, as far as like television, live action, episodic Star Wars. And that's a big trophy to carry. Yeah, that is a huge trophy to carry. It has me juiced to see what's coming up next. The end scene after the credits with Boba Fett. Oh
my God, bro.
Are you ready?
Okay, wait. Hold up. Pause real quick. Turn your camera off and on real quick, because you're getting a little choppy on my end. I'm only getting about each frame.
All right, how am I now?
Let's see. Hold up. Let's see. Wait. And hold up. There we go. We're good. Way better. Way better.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. No. Again, as someone who studies the Legends lore extensively, as anyone who's read the Legends lore knows that after Jabba the Hutt, that I lost her name there, Jabba is murdered. That palace that he resided in came under the rule of Bib Fortuna, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, and so that's why Boba Fett comes in and just fucking murks his ass, obviously, because Bib Fortuna fucked up Boba some 40-odd years ago, which is the best fucking part about it. But going back to the credit cast, like I don't know if I've talked about it before. I think I talked about it like once or twice ever on the show. But I'm a huge fan of the dinky-ass Street Fighter movie that came out like 30 years ago with fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia. Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme is fucking Guile with the American flag tattoo on his bicep. Fucking Raul Julia.
The blonde hair that he never should have had.
Yeah. That's the one. But Chun-Li, the girl who plays Chun-Li in that movie is the same girl who plays Boba Fett's the chick that follows him around with the big fucking gun. I forget her name.
Okay.
But the chick that follows him,
Ming-Na
that's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ming-Na Wen. Yeah.
And so
she also plays badass Calvary on Agents of Shield.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So like seeing her come into that was really cool. So you have Bill Burr, you have OG Boba Fett, you have Chun-Li, you have Sasha Banks, Rosario Dawson, and now you officially have Mark fucking Hamill. To say that it's AAA would be a massive understatement. And going back into that detail really quick, Bill Burr fucking, like, there was more development in Bill Burr being a soldier with regrets than there was Finn having regrets as a clone. And that's not like a jab at the sequels. That's just a credit to Bill Burr and what he was able to pull off, personally.
Amen. I'll put it to you like this. There were a lot of scenes that I may not have necessarily got because I'm not 100% divulged in the Star Wars universe. But even as a fan, as big of a fan as I am, every reference was there. Like I told somebody, I was like, that shit that Boba Fett pulled off when he pulled them off that planet and that little thing. That dropped, which, by the way, developed one of the best memes of 2020 after that dude hit that other dude in the face with a can of Twisted Tea. Somebody replaced the bomb with a can of Twisted Tea, and that shit just had me dying. But that bomb that he drops to kill those two those two TIE fighters was just like, okay, see, this is everything that I expected Boba Fett to be. Like when in these 3 or 4 episodes of The Mandalorian, I've gotten to see Boba Fett in what it's Boba. You know, like they gave us so little of him in the original trilogy. It was like I wanted more, and this fulfilled a lot of that hunger for more of Boba Fett. You know, and I can't wait for the book of Boba Fett, because it's gonna put me into a Boba Fett coma. It's gonna put me into a Boma. Okay, I'm just gonna, after I watch the last episode, I'm just gonna pass out.
Going out.
You know,
Going out.
And so, like, you know what's funny is, though, the Mandalorian, me and my homeboy were talking about it, just like with WandaVision, is drawing out the episodic versus binge watching debate again. Because he's like, dude, I just kind of wish they dropped like the entire season at once. Whereas I'm more like, I'm glad it's week to week. It gives you time to dissect everything about every episode before you get more information. You're not getting all the information at once and trying to digest it all at once. You're getting little bits of information, little half hour, 20 minutes, 45-minute blips of information to process and dissect, because this is all going to be something that's old but new. You know, these are stories that people have never seen visualized. The Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian. These are stories that people have not seen. What was it? The X Squadron is the name of one of the new ones that's come up. The bad ones.
Bad Batch. Yeah, things like that. Yeah, I want
You
to.
know, so-
I want to get to the lineup at the very end. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're not wrong going into it like that.
You know, so for me, like I said, for some people they want it all at once. For me, I'm happy with the week to week thing, and it gives you, you know, these people are trying to run an app, and they get paid off of how many people are streaming on their app. So why not give people content to come back and watch their app on a regular basis? You know, by the time the full Marvel slate comes out, there's going to be at least 3 days a week in which you're going to be flipping on Disney Plus to check out a new episode of one of the 4, 5, 6 shows. Same thing with Star Wars. You're going to be flipping on to check out. By the time summer comes around, we're going to be getting at least 3 to 5 new episodes a week of stuff. Our show's pretty much going to be taken up by Disney Plus, Marvel, and Star Wars shows. At that point, you know, the front half of the show, just dissecting each episode every week.
Damn right.
But that's a good thing. You know, if you've ever seen the show Leverage. With Timothy Hutton, Aldous Hodge plays the character Hardison, and he always says it at least 50 times throughout the series. We go Age of the Geek, baby, and that's what we're in. We are Age of the Geek right now when it comes to television. And not network television. That's one thing I like about it too. It's not network television. It's so they're not restricted in the same way that they would be if they were on ABC or NBC or something like that. They can do what they want to do and tell the story right.
There's a lot more freedom in that aspect. But yeah, to piggyback off that, as a joke at this point, like, you know, we here at the Cheap Pop, we look at a lot of numbers at things. We like to break down about how we feel about them, and then we look at them by the numbers logistically, you know. And because of that, I like to jokingly call Disney Plus the Mandalorian network, because of just how much raw viewership The Mandalorian as a show has pulled in for it as an individual, and what it's going to bring in for it going forward, now that it's using that to bounce into the Book of Boba and to bring Rosario Dawson's version of Ahsoka to the screens, because now that The Mandalorian was a great, in isolation, it was a great show. But I think amazing. What The Mandalorian has officially done has set the landscape and planted the seeds for an amazing fucking of shows and an ungodly amount of content that's going to be coming within the next 2 to 3 years, only pertaining to Star Wars shit, not even pertaining to other types of content. And that's not to say that Disney Plus is weak. Yeah, not even talking about Marvel. And that, all of that doesn't mean that Disney Plus is weak or that it's nothing without the Mandalorian. But you can't say that it's a little humorous that looking at Plus's lineup of Marvel content, and now that it has the entire fucking Simpsons anthology on it, which is insane to think about. Despite all of those things, The Mandalorian is drawing more than everything else combined double.
Yep. and it will continue. So I just, people don't understand how deep Star Wars fandom goes. Like
Oh,
go to
yeah.
the opening of a
Yeah.
Star Wars movie, and you begin to understand and see. Like I went to episode 1 when it was released, and Saint never lets me forget this. I came up with this thing, and I think I've mentioned it once before here on the show, where I came up with this thing where I was just like, look, man, if this movie ain't everything that they said it was going to be, give it my movie review. And he's like, what's your movie review? And I'm like, well, as soon as I realize that it's shitty, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to chuck my fucking soda at the screen, I'm going to walk out. Kari went with me to the next time I saw that movie just to see if I thought it was a bad movie, because he wanted to see that movie review. He never got it, because I actually enjoyed. I'm not one of those people that hates on the original trilogy or on the second trilogy. I thought it was a well-told story. I didn't look at it as something that was ever going to be better than the original trilogy. You know, I think that's where people get themselves get their feelings hurt, is when they go in expecting to see something that's going to be better than the original movies that, you know, got them started. No, don't ever expect it to be better. Nothing's ever better than the original. You know, that's a rarity. So, but I didn't necessarily care for the character Jar Jar Binks, but he didn't ruin the entire series for me. Like, I thought it was a well-told story. I thought that Anakin's character was made to be, it showed the descent into madness, you know, that he took before becoming Darth Vader, possibly one of the greatest, like, movie villains to ever exist, you know, one of the most badass Jedi to ever exist, or Sith, as you may call it, you know, But you know, I wasn't one of those ones that hated the episode 1, 2, and 3. I didn't think they were the greatest movies, but they weren't that bad.
Oh yeah, going towards that talk, like I am just a little bit biased when it comes to this discussion, only because it's like I was around basically to see the prequels come up. I wasn't alive to see Phantom Menace come out, but the ensuing 2 movies I was alive and there to see, and I actually did see them. I've talked about it before, but Revenge of the Sith is by large my favorite Star Wars movie of all time.
Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith, always. But yeah, it's good to hold them in isolation of each other in terms of trilogies, I think. Because, you know, it's unfair to be like, yeah, but what the originals did versus, like, look what the fucking prequels did. And despite how much I might rag on the sequels, I feel that way about those, too. There are good things about those, and I'm going to hold them in isolation to when they came out, too.
Exactly. And so, okay. So, we've talked Star Wars for about a good half hour here.
Oh, wait,
I'm going to jump subject. What's up?
Hold up. There's one last... There's, like, 2 last things I want to hit with Star Wars real quick.
Okay. Go for it.
Because... But before I hear anything, I want to get this idea out. So,
okay.
I have this idea running that everyone wanted to see Mace Windu in The Mandalorian, and obviously I think he would fit better in the Book of Boba only because, you know, Mace sort of his dad.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
But not exactly. The tumble, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the lineup, looking at the entire lineup of shows that Star Wars has lined up going forward for this entire verse, all connected to The Mandalorian.
Okay.
And so I'm probably going to send it to you at one point, but it's just a lineup of every show and where they fit in chronological order.
Okay.
And I did notice one very specific thing. The show called The Acolyte canonically takes place before absolutely everything that we have seen thus far. The Acolyte takes place before the originals, before Bad Batch, before Phantom Menace, before Solo, before all of that shit. It takes place before absolutely everything that we have seen thus far. And so that is an interesting notion because we don't know when it's going to take place exactly, just that it's before absolutely everything. And so, if you look at the name, I'm a bit inclined to think that it's going to be about a Sith Lord, right?
Okay.
If you look at the name,
That sounds fair.
you look at what the acolyte, what the acolyte by definition, what it means. And so you look at the font, you look at the name, and you look at the fact that it takes place before era. And I have this idea, I'm going to be drawing us back to the Republic days, all the way to the times of Knights of the Old Republic. Maybe not exactly plopped right into those timelines, maybe not plopped right back into those specific times, but sometime around there is where I'm guessing.
Okay.
And if we're narrowing it down by anything, a lot of people have been saying that they want it to be about Darth Pelagius the Wise. You know, the guy who mentored Palpatine, and who Palpatine eventually murdered to take his power and all that cool shit, right? That makes a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense if it was about either Palpatine or Pelagius. I wouldn't be mad about that. I think that'd be pretty fucking awesome, actually.
Amen.
But looking at the name, I have an idea that it's not going to be about them, or even Revan, or even Malgus, or any of those. I have this sinking sort of thought that it's going to be about Darth Nihilus. And I don't know if you remember Darth Nihilus, but he's the one cloaked in pure... Yeah, the one cloaked in pure black, who became so in touch with the dark side of the Force that he became just basically this giant, not giant, but this dark force ghost that was able to suck the life force of whole planets dry, because he was so in touch with the idea of ending life.
You know, I can't even be mad at you. Like, it sounds legit, and it sounds like something I would watch. I'll be honest with you. It makes sense. You know, if you're gonna go back, you go back to not necessarily where this trilogy started, but you're gonna take people to places where it's like, okay, unless you know what's going on, you're gonna be learning something new. And that's one thing I like about what's going on with the Mandalorian. It's like, unless you know what's going on, you're learning something. You're learning something new. But man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I just had that idea brewing, and because just in case, like, imagine this shit if I call that 6 months ahead of time. So I just wanted to make that move.
For sure. But, and we'll have video proof.
Yeah, we will. We have video proof now.
You have video proof. All right, so what I was going to move on to was we're going to just jump off of Star Wars for just a quick second, okay? And we'll get back to the list that you have of the things. But this is really like the only opportunity. We're down to about 10, 15 minutes left in this first half. So we kind of got to fit this in, and it's going to be a lot to talk about.
We do.
For those of you who know and have Netflix, you were introduced to this new world from YouTube TV called Cobra Kai. At least I was. Okay? We've all seen season 1, and we've all seen season 2. You know, we all know Miguel was in a coma. Well, season 3 was just released. And see, I'm kind of glad that they released. Now, once again, this is where I kind of teeter on the line between the wanting to binge watch and one. I'm happy that they dropped the entire season of Cobra Kai, because I pretty much binge watched it accidentally. Like, I meant to watch 1 or 2 episodes, and the shit got so good that I realized I only had 2 episodes left. And so I just was like, well, might as well finish watching it now at this point. But pardon me. But Cobra Kai season 3 is a masterpiece. The only negative thing I can say about it, after 3 seasons, I'm kind of over the brawls. Like, really? I'm kind of over I'm kind of over the brawls. And what I mean by it is this. Wait a goddamn minute. So wait a minute. These niggas went in Ralph Macchio's house, busted in, threw a kid through a goddamn window, man. Through a goddamn window. Little dude went outside to check on the sound and came back in through the 6 feet wide by 3 feet high, which you gotta have some pretty good aim to throw a kid through a window that size. Window. Just chucked his little ass back in there. Now, what kind of thugs are Cobra Kai? That these niggas, first they beat up a 12-year-old. A 12-year-old. This wasn't Tori. This wasn't Tori kicking Sam's ass. This wasn't Miguel getting his ass kicked. This was little dude that you hardly ever see, that just got beat up and chucked through a window to make a point.
Right.
You know, so from that extent, and then on top of that, nobody's gone to jail yet. This whole big ass brawl, one big ass brawl took place at the school. The other one takes place at a man's house, and the only person that then went to jail was Robbie. That's it. Robbie ain't got a daddy. Robbie ain't got a sensei. Robbie in jail. Like, man, but all laughs aside, it was a great season. Like, I kind of missed the big black girl, like, but they kind of they kind of, you know, explained her character away, saying she went to friggin', where was it? Boarding school somewhere, you know, but the development of the characters was great. The development of the character Johnny, not only as a sensei, but as a man, was amazing. You know, and the last thing I would say is that I was about ready to jump through the TV and beat his ass. He wasn't gonna fuck over Carmen. I wasn't gonna let that happen. Carmen's a nice lady, okay? Miguel's mama is a nice lady, and she does not deserve to be fucked with. I'm glad that they didn't go that route, you know. But you know, I was about to jump through the TV. You know, you can't fuck her over like that. You can fuck her, but you can't fuck her over. Pardon my language.
Fuck go back.
But yeah, seriously though. But the characters from Miguel to Johnny to the throwbacks to Karate Kid Part 2 were amazing. Daniel's trip to Osaka, was it? Oh, Okinawa. To Okinawa, Japan, and him reuniting with basically his love interest and his villain from the second movie was just an amazing route to go. It was very well worked in. They didn't really force it at all. I read an article, just on a side note, about, they were saying the characters of Tori and Sam in their trajectory really lends to bringing in Hilary Swank as her character from the next Karate Kid. Because, you know, as we've stated before, you know, anything from the Miyagi verse is canon within the Cobra Kai world.
The Miyagi verse. That's the best name for it I've ever fucking heard.
But my favorite part of all things, and this I just found out speaking to one of the friends of the show, Jamil, that I did not know that the writers of Cobra Kai are the same guys who wrote the YouTube skits about Daniel being the bully in the Karate Kid, and they are also in turn are the writers of the William Zabka episodes of How I Met Your Mother.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's all the same guys. So I say all of that to bring this up. For those of you who watched, I think it's like the third or fourth episode in, and they're pleading for them to bring back the All Valley tournament. And Daniel-san stands up and he tells his story about how karate saved his life. And he goes, and Ralph Macchio stands up and he goes, man, when I first moved here and I went to the school, I was bullied. And you hear somebody scream off the side of the camera. You never see who it is. He goes, bullshit! I heard you were a bully. And I'm like, finally they made that canon. That's awesome. Amazing. That's so bow down to the writers of Cobra Kai, because that was just awesome.
Canon. They canonized it, motherfuckers. I love it.
I thought the only way they could have made it better is if they flashed the camera to the side and it was Neil Patrick Harris standing there saying it.
Oh my fucking!
That would have just made it perfect.
Oh my fucking god, that would have been perfect.
But overall, yeah, like Cobra Kai gave you everything you could have possibly wanted with this season. So those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on season 3?
Yeah, going into it, I agree. I think seeing the little in nods and references is as good as it gets. And going into it, like, you know, as a big fan of things like this, you walk into these and it's like, for every good thing they could get right, there are so many things they could fuck up, especially with something that has been in the same canon for how many years now? Like this is supposed to be the same consecutive story for two different forms of media now, right?
Yep.
Going through this. Okay, there we go. I thought I was coming in wrong. But yeah, it's a lot to keep up with, and there's a lot in continuity to not fuck up. And seeing the ways that they add in every little nod to 1 and part 2 is as good as it fucking gets. It's having seen those movies back and forth over and over again. The nods to little things like that. It's great.
It does. It makes you. If you've ever seen the movies, it definitely makes you reminisce, about, and it gives you the critical key parts of the movie without basically making the entire season about the movie, while still staying relevant. And by the way, I got a birthday coming up in 10 months for 10 months for people. I'll take an Eagle Fang t-shirt. Eagle Fang
t-shirt. Hell yeah.
I'm an Eagle Fang fan all day.
Fuck yeah.
But once again, development of characters, writing, staying true to the fear. Here's a key thing about it. Okay, so I was having a discussion once again with Jamil, and we're discussing which other Karate Kid movies they could bring in, and I was discussing the possibility of Jaden showing up.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Right. Will Smith is an executive producer on the show, so the ties are already there. My friend Jamil brought up the most salient point not to do it. He said, first and foremost, the Miyagi-verse, as they've so succinctly put it, is based in Japan. The next Karate Kid, or the new Karate Kid with Jaden Smith, actually takes place in China. I had forgotten about that. Second of all,
you're right.
Jackie Chan is teaching him kung fu, not karate.
I was gonna say, because it's Jackie Chan teaching him, and it's not Japanese. It's not a Japanese fighting style. That's a very interesting catch. That's a really good one.
And my Hall of Fame friend, congratulations, Jamil. Shout out to you for making the Bay Area Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. We'll have him on the show here in the next couple of weeks to talk a little bit about it. But he said he's succinctly stated that it should have been called the Kung Fu Kid and not the Karate Kid. But I agree with him 100%. Like it would be kind of clunky to try to introduce Jaden into this universe, especially considering throughout the entire 3 seasons, one of the things that I give props to the writers and to the choreographers of Cobra Kai is that it's real easy to slip in between martial arts. It's real easy to put together a move, to put together a choreographed fight scene that may include things that aren't necessarily a part of that art. If you watch some karate movies, it's like that. You'll see moves. You're like, wait a minute, that's not kung fu.
That's not feasible. Yeah,
right. And so, but at the end of the day, if you watch Cobra Kai, they've stuck to karate. The students, the teachers, every fight scene, they stick to karate. Okay? And so because of that, it's another reason why the Jaden character wouldn't necessarily fit in as well. But I wanted to get to the development of the Hawk character. From kind of being his development in 1 from being the bullied to being the badass by the end of season 1. And then his story arc and development through season 2 of being the badass who becomes the bully. Mm-hmm. Back to the season 3. My favorite moment of season 3 is when you have the scene when all the fighting's going on in the LaRusso home, because evidently the entire house is a dojo. And Hawk has his moment of clarity where he realizes, wait a minute, am I standing here with Nazis? If you've ever seen the clip on Facebook, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. But really, like he has this moment, like, wait a minute, am I on the wrong side? Yeah, I think I'm on the wrong side. And it runs and helps Dimitri out. And then you get the cool little, couple of minutes scene of him and Dimitri fighting back to back, kicking ass.
Yeah.
but that whole story arc over the 3 seasons has been so beautiful to watch. Because they say power can corrupt, and Hawk's character is kind of one of those prime examples of that. Is he found the power of karate so, how do you say, alluring that it caused him to basically become the bully, and so like shout out to Hawk. Shout out to his character. I loved him in this season. Like made a guy continue to grow. I can't wait to see what other combo, fighting scenes they put together with him and Dimitri, because Dimitri's fighting in general is kind of clunky. So like, but he gets the job done.
It gets the job done. I'm not gonna say he doesn't. Go on.
Oh man!
Yeah, I agree.
Dimitri reminds me of that one guy in the karate class.
Yeah. I was gonna say I really liked what I called it the heel turn midway through. I liked the of because I feel like when it comes to watching shows, it's a bad thing, but it's kind of expected at this point to see at least one villain sort of turn face, become a good guy at some point, even for just a little bit. So I do find it a little bit more interesting when you find a show when they spend a lot of time building up someone as a good guy, and then they stop and twist it. And so they have a whole new plot device there. And so I found that pretty fucking interesting. Seeing him go from, again, like you said, a valiant fucking hero, like, God, what the fuck am I doing here? And having a badass back-to-back fight, and then sort of subconsciously becoming the bad guy, which is always fucking awesome.
It was. And I do like the way that they brought back the kid from season 1, the kids that were bullying Miguel and them, and they brought them back as Creasy's new students. Like that was pretty cool. Now, here's one thing I'm going to say. I said this to Jamil, and I said this to Suave. Fuck you, Cobra Kai writers. Because by the end of the season, I wanted to hug and hated Kreese all at the same time. Like I loved and hated the dude all at the same time, because everybody considers that scene when he kills his head officer like Creasy being cold blooded. I don't. If you listen to all the things that dude said to Creasy leading up to that fight, it made perfect sense. One of them wasn't coming off of that rope, off of that plank alive. Period. Didn't matter if somebody showed up or not. Somebody wasn't walking off of that plank alive. And Creasy made sure it wasn't him, or John.
At that point, it's me or you,
Right. So it's like at the end of the day, I in no way am rooting for Kreese, but like I said, by the way that season was written, by the end of the season, I had love for Creasy. I understood why he was the way he was, why he was as how do you say, as off the wagon as he is.
Yeah, you're right. I feel it. I agree.
But yeah.
Back to what you had said before, without digging too far into it, not to change the subject, but that too did make me think, like, do I want to blow through this in 2 sittings, or do I want to do this episodically? And so, like my older brother, I have an older brother. For example, he literally was telling me, like, I haven't watched a single episode of The Mandalorian. Of season 2, because he waited until the whole show was out and every single episode was out before he watched every single episode in one sitting, and that was it. And I don't think that's wrong, but personally, I cannot find that within me to do that shit.
I think it depends on
the episodic journey style. Yeah, that's true. The product does change it. Obviously, it's like you have something like The Punisher, where episodes aren't long, versus you have something like The Mandalorian where you have more bite-sized and digestible episodes. So I do agree that depending on the show, especially on watch time, it matters.
Amen. Like and like I said, sometimes it's just nice. It's nice to sit back and watch. I'll make it a point like this. Like I said, I can go with either way, but like my landlord was trying to talk me into getting basic cable to try to bring my bill down, and I'm like, look, dude, I don't watch anything on live TV anymore. I watch sports. I watch pro wrestling, and that's about it. Like, I don't really have anything that I watch on TV. Even most of the stuff that I watch on live TV, I watch on DVR. Like, outside of sports, outside of football, basketball games, etc., I don't watch anything live anymore. Everything I watch is either streamed or it's on demand. Or it's something that I bought on Amazon, which, by the way, I'm going to throw this in here right before we go to our podcast promo break, but I took it upon myself to watch the original. Now, when I say the original, I mean the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Hell fucking yeah.
For those of you who don't know, this movie had an all-star cast. Christy Swanson, Donald Sutherland, Luke Perry, Pee Wee Herman, David Arquette, Hilary Swank.
Fucking Pee Wee Herman fucking movie. Holy shit, dude.
Rutger Hauer. And guess who I found out by watching this movie was in there that I didn't even know?
Who?
Ben Affleck. I'm sitting there watching in the original. Now, mind you, it was such a small part that you would, if you remember the scene when, okay, you've seen Dazed and Confused, right? We agreed that's one of our favorite
absolutely,
movies.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the dude who plays the dude who makes fun of Slater. I can't think of his character name, but he makes fun of Slater for saying, check you later. The dude in the overalls.
Yeah.
He's in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, okay? He gets bit and becomes a vampire. And you remember the scene as he's playing basketball on the court, and he keeps scaring all the other kids into giving them the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's a player from the opposite team in all the red jerseys that he walks up to and he like goes, ah. And that character who turns around and hands him the basketball is like, oh, here you go. It's Ben Affleck.
Fucking God fucking damn it.
I was like, no. And I went to Google, and sure enough, Affleck admits. And what's the most hilarious thing is I found a story where Affleck talks about that I guess Kazooie didn't like his line so much that he taped over it. And so not even the line is actually Affleck. Only the person standing there is Affleck. The line itself is a recorded line of somebody else saying his line. Man,
you get one line, gets photoshopped the fuck out. Imagine that shit.
But I also found out that a lot of the guys that were involved in that original movie were also involved in both Angel, in Angel, not just Joss Whedon, but the directors and executive producers were also involved in the television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel.
Yeah.
So like that, but that movie was so classic and just so over the top and just hilarious. I still laugh. I laughed my butt off at the scene when Pee Wee Herman dies. When he's like,
I was gonna say, and he's like bouncing and shit for like 5 minutes on the floor.
He even stands back up and looks at her like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's straight hilarious, man. But if you ever get a chance to check it out, 1982, Christy Swanson, Luke Perry, Donald Sutherland, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Check it out. I recommend it 100%.
Absolutely.
I just spent $15 buying it just because.
Well worth that. Well worth the 15 fucking bucks. Well worth it.
But all right, y'all. So for y'all on YouTube world, we're about to go to commercial break. And for y'all on the audio world, we're about to take our podcast promo break. I hope you're enjoying listening to us here on the Four Aces Presents Radio Network and YouTube Network. Peace. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the Four Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you may find your favorite podcasts.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast, spelled D-A, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
Hey guys, this is Venice. and I've got a message from a friend of mine about my favorite podcast.
It's your boy, Flavor Flav in full effect. Check this out, everybody. I want y'all to go check out TJ.
What's good, everybody? TJ Johnson here for Voice from the Underground. I am the most handsome.
Big Has.
And I'm smoking my cigar, of course.
You know what I'm saying? The Dutch.
You pick me up in an Uber and a PT Cruiser, I'm calling Lyft.
Cause they be fighting the power, talking about social issues, politics, you know what I'm saying?
And we're not even that good.
Right, we're terrible. Terrible. Tangents all over the place.
And not only that, but they be keeping it fun with the sports, music, comics, and movies too.
Am I allowed to talk?
I think, no, not right now.
Shut up, colonizer!
You know what I'm saying? He on Twitter at VFU Podcast. So you can find them. So check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy.
Okay, what Flav was trying to say is, check out Voice from the Underground on your favorite podcast network.
Voice from the Underground.
Man brain. You know you want it. You know you need it. Let me introduce you to our team of audio professionals, 100% committed to giving you the greatest extreme comedy podcast of all time.
What's SPH? I'm so super cute.
Send me your orgasmic release videos.
You can get it rootin'. You can get it tootin'. You can get it doing doughies in your yeet. Mi nombre es Tío Yeti. And you just laugh at little Hank. I ain't gonna pretend I is fresh. But looks like you might like that.
And most importantly, I'm Skullfucker. Rah! Go to manbrainpodcast.com to get orally violated. Manbrain out.
All right, and we are back. Yellow, yellow, yellow.
All right. Let's push it into part 2, right?
Yep. Now, brother, we're going to be talking Marvel. Marvel.
Oh, yes.
Can I get an A? Can I get an RVLE? So here it goes. We're going to start with WandaVision. Episodes 1 and episodes 2 just recently dropped. I don't know about you, but I was highly impressed. First and foremost, I was just happy to see Deborah Jo Rupp. Like, that's my girl right there. Kitty, for those of you who don't know her, that's Kitty Foreman from That 70s Show.
Yeah, man.
My TV's favorite mom. But Deborah Jo Rupp. I there were so many Marvel Easter eggs in there, like they were hard to count. We obviously know that the only things that I've derived so far is that obviously Wanda is trapped somewhere, and this whole thing is her brain coping with whatever's going on outside. But I don't claim to know who's holding her. There are some that have hinted that the little commercial drops in both episodes really kind of give you a hint. Remember they had the watch, the Strucker watch by Hydra. And then they had the what was it, the toaster? What was it called? Oh God, forgot what it was, but it was like a shield or sword reference in there. So I was kind of creeped out with the For the Children episode.
Oh yeah, kind of creeped out. No, yeah,
but I will say this, and this is the one point I will make from the get-go, and then I'll turn the floor over to you.
Of course.
I love the authenticity of there only being one black family. You're talking about a town in the mid-1950s in basically, pardon me saying this, Whiteville, USA.
Yeah.
I love the authenticity of there being only one black family. And did you notice the line when she goes, I don't even know why I'm here? And I'm like, I'm not gonna touch that one. I'm just gonna.
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna let that one. I'm gonna let that one grow a little bit. No, you're right though. But yeah, that's not even a bad way of thinking about it. You know, it's the 50s, 60s. The composite house is the good housewife. You know, the honey I'm home sort of thing. And I think that lends into what I'm going to go in for here. And so, you know, obviously, immediately you can be very real with that approach right there and just take that going forward. That was a very problematic time. Just because that there was things like that, and because there was peace, doesn't mean that it was necessarily a good time, especially for certain people. And that's a very real statement. And so this lends into my theory that going all the way back when this shit was announced, do you remember that when this was announced and it was just the name, and the both of us were immediately like, that is the most stupid fucking name I've ever heard in my entire life. Why would you name a show that? Yeah.
Yes. I remember thinking.
We were both just immediately like, what the fuck is that? And we were both like, you know, we're not saying it's going to be bad, but that name is fucking garbage. And that leads into what I'm going for here, because I don't necessarily think that that WandaVision is oh shit. There we go.
Hello? No, not you, John. You're doing fine. Turn back on your video.
No. You froze for me. You froze for me for a sec. Hold up.
Sorry, guys.
No, you flat out froze for me for a quick sec. Give me a sec. Here. There you go. You're good. I'm sorry. You fucking stopped completely for me for a second there. But yeah, sorry. Going into what I was saying, I don't think WandaVision as a name is supposed to mean the tandem of Wanda and Vision. It's not just supposed to be the two characters mashed together. It's clear that the whole gimmick behind what Wanda and Vision mean as a duo and what they're going for as a story is that they want to, like, they seem so badly to want to live a normal life, to live a by the numbers life and be normal. But as Vision is, you know, a construct of Ultron, and as Wanda is probably one of the strongest mutants in canon, you know, that's obviously not an option. And so I want to bring up the House of M storyline. You might have heard of that tagline somewhere before, House of M. And so, if I'm not mistaken, it's when the whole format of reality is changed, and it's because Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, has ascended to Omega level status as a mutant and is basically able to control reality. And that just shows the heights that Wanda can go. And so looking at this, it does make me think like... it's all good. Good. It's all good, man. It's all good. Take your time. Yeah, but I think maybe it could lead credence to the idea that she's not trapped by someone. It's not someone who's actively, like, capping her, and it could be Wanda herself changing shit around her without knowing it, because it's clear that she's the whole gimmick with the Scarlet Witch in and out of comics is supposed to be that she's more powerful than she has ever had the capacity to control. And I don't think that's it for sure. You know, that is a theme of the Scarlet Witch character that I think they're going to carry into the cinematic universe too.
Well, if you carry it from the angle that she's gone crazy because Thanos kills Vision, or Thanos killed Vision, you know, you could very much play that entire card that this is just that she is somewhere, but she's trapped in her own mind. That this whole life with Vision is just within her mind. But we'll kind of see how that plays out, you know, as the episodes move forward. But these first two, man, what was I say? But when you look at where they're going with the movies, where they're going with the shows, I think we're definitely on the path for a multiverse type atmosphere through Phase 4. Wanda is a strong enough character on her own to support the show. Sorry, I'm kind of lost a little bit of thought there, track of where I was going with it.
No, you're right.
But
Good.
the Marvel, how do I say this? I'm trying to take a second to regather my thoughts.
No, what you mean. Like going in that direction, it seems feasible. Like looking at the direction that Phase 4 is going and how they're like, going off of Thanos. There's only one place left to go, and that's towards places like God Hand Doom. In Secret Wars, you have things like Blackus, and then you obviously have the Krang, and then you have like the whole fucking multiverse eggshell to crack. So you're right there completely with the direction they're going, and with how she was hyped up in Infinity War. Yeah, I can see it going that way. I feel it.
Another thing I was going to bring up from Infinity War, or not Infinity War, but Infinity War and Endgame, that I was telling my fiance the other day, is this. There's a scene in Endgame, the infamous scene, where she jumps on the scene and she looks at Thanos and she says, "You took everything from me." And he looks at her and he says, "I don't even know who you are." And everybody's like, "Oh, that's cold. That's cold."
Fuck.
Hold up. Let's put some reality to it. Let's overthink it a little bit.
Yeah.
That Thanos doesn't have any clue who she is. That Thanos hadn't gone and taken the Mind Stone out of Vision's head. That Thanos was dead. The one who had done all of that was dead. So technically, the Thanos that she was talking to did have no clue who she was.
Oh God! By the time loop shit. Oh shit! You're right. I didn't think about it like that.
Because think about that. The Thanos that they're fighting in Endgame is a different one.
At that point is because they went backwards in time and all that shit. You're right. So thinking about it like that is like, truly, he wasn't even trying to burn her. He might have genuinely been like, "What the fuck you talking about, mate?"
Yeah, like, he's like, "Who the hell are you?" Like, he has no memory because that Thanos had never experienced that. It took me watching. Ironically, it was on TNT a couple of weeks ago. They had Infinity. They played Infinity War and Endgame back to back. And I was watching the scene in Infinity War, and I was like, and then my brain was playing through Endgame, and I was like, wait a minute. They kill this Thanos like at the beginning of Endgame. So yeah, it's not a burn. Dude has no clue who the hell she is. Like this broad's about to fuck his ass up, and he literally has no clue who he. It's like you standing at the bar and some dude walk in like, "Oh, you my wife, dude. I don't even know your wife.
I don't even know you."
Exactly. But it is a good moment in the sense that it partially shows exactly how powerful Wanda is, but it also shows exactly how much her power is tied to her emotion. It was shown again in Infinity War or in Age of Ultron when Quicksilver gets killed, and just like her just releasing power because she's upset about it destroys the nearest 30 Ultrons to her, and just disintegrates them.
Fucking EMPs the shit out of them. Yeah,
exactly. So off of that note, let's jump into this MCU because there's a lot of information coming out. So the first thing I want to talk about was this. So it does look like most likely Marvel is going the route of crowning Shuri as the next Black Panther. Okay, but recently it has been announced that Michael B. Jordan will be joining the cast. Now I only bring these two things up in that sequence for this reason. I was having a discussion with Suave about Black Panther 2 and ways that they could bring back Black Panther without necessarily recasting him. And, of course, the multiverse theory comes up. And we're sitting there, and we're like, wait a minute. Okay, so Black Panther 2 takes place after Doctor Strange in the multiverse. So
shit. I know where this is going. Okay.
What's to stop us from opening up a universe in which the mantle of Black Panther... T'Challa's father never kills Killmonger's father. Killmonger then comes back to Wakanda as an actual citizen. And
because then
of his
he's there.
lineage, exactly. And because of his lineage, he ends up taking over not only Wakanda, but the mantle of Black Panther. Only this isn't the same Killmonger that went through everything he went through that made him hate Wakanda. So now he's a good guy. So now you bring back Black Panther as Michael B. Jordan.
As the good Killmonger.
Exactly, except now he wears the gold instead of the purple. And
I was going to say, yeah.
I was like, you want to know what's hilarious? Is the next day after having that conversation with Suave, I saw the Michael B. Jordan thing, and I was like, weren't we?
Oh, come on. Come on.
Let it be. Let it be. Because obviously he's going to be in the movie somewhere. So please, Marvel, make all my dreams come true. Because if that's the route you guys are going to go, I think it would be the ultimate way to pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman, because you don't recast T'Challa. Find another way. Find another way without recasting T'Challa. You know what I'm saying? Kill his character off and leave him dead. Leave him be. But bringing back Michael B. Jordan to play the Black Panther character, but as Killmonger, as a good version of Killmonger because remember, technically Killmonger is supposed to be dead in this universe, so it really wouldn't be even a time thing. You know, so make it happen.
Yeah, it's on a time. Multiverse thing.
And then send me my movie check.
I've my movie check. I've talked about it before, but you know, he came in and he had that role in Fantastic Four, which was critically and audience-wise fucking just destroyed. And I don't really honestly have any strong thoughts about it. I think it's just okay at best. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but I don't think it's anything special. But then he came in and had the role of Killmonger and proved that he can act his fucking ass off when given the right shit. And so if we hadn't seen him as Killmonger, I wouldn't believe in this. But seeing him as that, I have faith that they could more than easily look at that and just face turn him through the multiverse. Because, you know, this is comics. Through the multiverse, all things are possible.
Well, shit, you figure there's 100 million, there's at least 100 universes out there, and one of them, Killmonger's got to be a good guy. In one of them, T'Challa's dad didn't kill his father. You know, at least in one of them, you know, he turned out to be a decent dude. You know, but I think it's a great way. I think you're right. It can be, to me, it completes the redemption arc for the actor. Kind of like Deadpool completed the redemption arc for Ryan Reynolds after that Green Lantern fiasco. You know, to me, the Iron Man character and role completed the redemption arc for Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, really?
They're talking about bringing back. Well, they've said RDJ might be coming back, which I'm thinking it may be for a cameo in the multiverse movie as well.
I'm thinking like Jarvis hologram at best.
Yeah, but they're also talking about bringing back Chris Evans. He's signed on to play Captain America again. Mm-hmm. I think once again it's going to be in that kind of like
throwback sort of context,
right?
Or even a flashback,
right. Or maybe a multiverse where Captain America became a Winter Soldier, or maybe a multiverse where Captain America is Hydra. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh no, you haven't seen that one? That's one of my favorite multiverses. I was going to say I love that one.
I'm saying you could bring him back to play the exact same character except bad guy.
They could easily. There's a lot of potential in that now. Once they open that multiverse door with that movie, they open up a lot of different storytelling devices for themselves going forward. You know, and DC has much bigger of an emphasis on multiverse and how that affects their whole system. But Marvel isn't closed off about it, but they're a little more selective. You know, they're a little more specific with what they let be classified as an off-world sort of non-canon or completely canon in an off-world story. You know,
right?
And so taking that into the silver lining, taking that into the silver screen, is going to be so fucking awesome. And best case scenario, it's like obviously we're seeing this in the form of Spider-Man now. And now everyone, much like me, is frothing out the mouth at the idea of seeing Tobey Maguire again alongside the other Spider-Man, or seeing an iteration of Ben Reilly or Scarlet Spider-Kane.
Oh, Spider-Gwen. Give me Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, exactly. Spider, like a live action Spider-Gwen, like fucking Emma Stone. Come on now.
Man, I can tell you that Marvel has opened up so many doors when it comes to what's possible, because of the fact that they decided to go this multiverse route. Like you said, you have Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland coming together for this next movie. Now, other big news that was just released the other day: Charlie Cox has recorded himself some scenes as Matt Murdock for the third Spider-Man movie. So I can't wait to see how they introduce him and his character. And the lovely man that is Kevin Feige had said never say never about them bringing back Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and the Punisher to this.
Perfect transition into what I was going to say. Perfect transition. So, as a big Punisher mark, you know, there is one really fun Punisher fact that some comic fans know, but I think is not widely known in the current state of comics outside of comic books in the form of movies, video games, and such. And that, you know, most of the characters we see now weren't introduced in the way that we thought they were. Like, you know, we love Wolverine. We've talked about Wolverine extensively here. Wolverine started out as a Hulk villain.
Yeah.
Wolverine wasn't an X-Men character. When he first debuted, he was a Hulk villain in a Hulk standalone comic. And people forget that the Punisher was the same. The Punisher first started out not as a hero, or not in his own standalone, but he was a fucking Spider-Man villain. And he was a damn great one. And so I think if they're really going to go down the route of multiverse Spider-Man movie, we also have to recognize that officially by that there is a good chance that they could easily bring in John Bernthal's version of the Punisher through the multiverse into a Spider-Man movie, and that would make sense considering that the Punisher began his entire career as a Spider-Man villain.
And side note, was watching Grudge Match with Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone last night.
Fuck yeah, man.
And saw a familiar face randomly, like just turned on the last 10 minutes of it. I went, wait a minute, that's the Punisher. What's he doing in this movie? Just thought I'd bring that up real quick. But yeah, you know, John, I think that a lot of people forget that back in the days, and still even today in comic books, characters are very rarely ever introduced in their own comic initially.
Yeah.
You know, normally the way most comic companies work is if you have a new character, they will look for a universe for that character to exist in, and they will have you work with another comic writer to try to introduce your character through their comic books before your initial solo launch comes out. It was a concept that when I used to try to work on comic books with my friend Jamil, it was a concept that he stressed to all of his writers: continuity, talk to each other, work together. When you're writing your own comic book, but you're also writing a book that exists within a shared universe. Like one of the prime things that he used to say, one of the prime examples he gave at a meeting we had when we were first getting the thing up and running was if in Kevin's comic book somebody blows up the World Trade Center, if your comic book is in New York, the World Trade Center better blow up. It's just that thing. He wasn't at that point in time. He wasn't trying to deal with multiverses and multiple universes and everything else. It was we all exist within the same universe. It was kind of I remember my argument a little while back about the Netflix shows that always pissed me off in regards to the MCU is they were supposed to be directly connected to the MCU. So wait a minute, there's a man that can bounce bullets off of him, another blind dude that's kicking everybody's ass, a dude that's running around with a fucking semi-automatic shotgun and a skull on his chest shooting everybody up, and an indestructible girl, and Tony Stark has never heard of any of them. And he has the Avengers Towers right in the center of Manhattan. Come on now, that was one of the things that always upset me about that. Is that wait a minute? These are supposed to be a part of the MCU as well, and so I think that's where a little thing that Marvel.
It's not even that It's not even that they need to be like included, but to be acknowledged even. Like some even small flip note of acknowledgement of their existence. Even if like you're watching fucking Infinity War and for just like fucking 3 frames, maybe they're looking through a Jarvis computer and like you see their names or just a picture of them pop up. That is all it would have taken for me at least to be gratified for that to make sense. I agree with that.
To make the
They're
connection.
supposed to be connected to that. It's supposed to be connected. It's supposed to be the same world. And when you break those rules, it's like, what the fuck is going on? And then at that point, you got to line it up on all different types of different ways.
And see, like I said, like you mean to tell me the events of the Defenders, Iron Fist, the second season of Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones all happened, and not a single Avenger noticed. Not a single Avenger went, wait a minute. What's going on over here in the boroughs?
Yeah.
Like, not a single person said that. And so, like I said, at the end of the day, I make fun of it, but it was really the one missing link between those Netflix shows and the MCU. You know, it was the one missing link. There was never any acknowledgement. Now, mind you, there was acknowledgement on the Netflix side of what was happening in the MCU, but there wasn't any reciprocation to it.
Yeah.
So, but needless to say, characters like the Punisher, I feel if they can bring those shows back, like I said, they might have a little bit lighter tone to them because it's Disney and not Netflix.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if they can bring those shows back, I think it would do nothing. It would serve nothing but good for the entire Marvel cinematic and TV universe. Because with all the shows coming up, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, etc., and all of them being linked together, I think that finally Marvel is going to have something to rival the Arrowverse. They're finally going to have something on the small screen to rival the Arrowverse.
I agree. I think because of that is exactly why I bring up the idea of Punisher coming in as maybe not a Spider-Man villain, maybe not a full-on antagonist, but as a foil of some type or a flip note in that way, because through that they don't
Daredevil before they gave his own shows. Yeah.
Exactly. They can introduce the Punisher without getting to the nitty-gritty of what the Punisher is about through introducing him against Spider-Man or Spider-Men if you fucking want to. You can come at it from the approach. You could come at this from the approach of Spider-Man's perspective. So you don't really have to see Frank Castle do what Frank Castle does, painting walls with people's brain matter. Instead you have his foil to Spider-Man's plans. And that usually isn't even like, it's usually not like how he's a villain, like, oh, I'm holding this chick hostage for world takeover. That's not how the Punisher works. It's usually more or less because Punisher and Spider-Man's morals are on two exact opposite ends of the spectrum. Spider-Man doesn't kill. Spider-Man, it's actually proven that Spider-Man holds back and pulls back all of his punches, because if he threw a full force punch, he would break his own hand and their jaw. And so, it's literally like two opposite sides of the spectrum. You have Punisher, who is like, oh, you committed a misdemeanor. Well, hello to my Glock. And then you have
bullet to the back of the head.
Is, friendly. Yeah, and you have Spider-Man, who is kittens out of trees and old ladies across the street. So, there's a lot to play with there. There's a lot to play with.
I definitely agree. Like I said, I can't wait to see Matt Murdock's appearance and what his role is going to be. I think what this movie is going to do is it's going to establish the Netflix as canon, but a multiple universe canon, like it existed within its own universe. This, and I think that's what's going to launch and save them being able to bring it to Disney, potentially with different actors. Daredevil will probably still be the same actor. But I don't think they're going to be able to get the same guy for Luke Cage. Hopefully they'll be able to get Michael Coulter again. Who knows if they're going to be? I think they'll be able to get the same girl for Jessica Jones, and John Barenthal already said he's all about, playing the Punisher. But I think that's how, if they do have to change one of the actors, it's the way that they can get away with doing it without necessarily
disrupting the established.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, Marvel is giving us everything that we could want, and so is Disney, and so is Star Wars. Like it's all just so much. I'm even looking forward to the Snyder Cut now that I have my HBO Max. Even though they said now, just switching subjects real quick, they said the Snyder Cut will not be a 4-hour miniseries. It will be a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, and did you hear what else is going to be in it?
What?
The motherfucking God Hand. John Johns is going to be in it, bro. Martian Hunter's going to be appearing in it at some point.
Nice. I can't see. And here's the deal. Let's dig into this since we're on DC.
Yeah. Let's dig the teeth in here. Let's go.
Wonder Woman 84 has now been considered by Rotten Tomatoes the worst DC movie ever. I can't agree with it. I think
by audience or critical standards.
By audience. Evidently, they're rating by audience. Like it's just not. I don't understand. Like I don't know. Call me blessed in being able to enjoy movies for what they are. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not as critical of a lot of movies as other people are. I didn't see Wonder Woman 84 as a bad movie by any stretch. Like it was to me, it was a good story told. I didn't quite fully understand the whole thing about how he taught her to fly, but I did like the fact that she was the inspiration for or she was what made the jet invisible. It wasn't like some invisible jet that had been built for her, out of some technology or something. She was the reason why the jet was invisible. I really enjoyed that much. I don't know about the swing from the lightning and all that. But it wasn't bad it wasn't bad storytelling to me. I did like the character of what's her name, Kitty. What was her name?
The chick who would become Cheetah, right?
Yeah, the chick who would become Cheetah. I liked her story arc, and I don't know. I think we could have. I didn't necessarily like Max Lord, but I didn't necessarily hate him. I preferred the Max Lord from Supergirl better, but.
Yeah, I was going to say Maxwell Lord from Supergirl was on a whole nother fucking level for me, but it wasn't horrible. I think my problems with the Wonder Woman movie aren't really. I like to think they're kind of nitpicks almost, but they come from the position of someone who likes to look at the way these movies are formatted and the way that they take things step by step. And I think that when it comes to superhero anything form of media, most writers will immediately be like, okay, we need hero and we need villain, and we have to have these set in stone. And I did like the way that Wonder Woman approached it, with Cheetah having that cool transformation and slowly becoming more and more animalistic and fucking primal. That shit was cool. And the fighting was cool. And her big-ass armor set was cool. But I think there's something almost diametrically wrong when it comes to approaching superheroes that have lackluster villain lineups.
Okay.
There's a very specific way that you have to do it, I think. And I don't think it's a shit movie. I'm not going to say it's a shit movie. I think it's okay. I had a better time watching it than I did Batman vs Superman, which just straight up made me cringe at some point. Like Batman vs Superman just straight up made me like, bad choice. Yeah, like Martha, what's that name? Yeah, that was just like, no, not having it. Wonder Woman didn't make me cringe at any points, but I think that there's a certain way you have to approach your villain when it comes to making a villain that isn't the most well-known thing in the world. Because, Dark Knight trilogy, first 5 minutes, you have that fucking clown take off the clown mask and it be the Joker, and everyone in the fucking room will be like, oh fucking shit, that's the Joker. Right. We know what the fuck is about to ensue. We know how this story goes. Right. You can drop that bombshell and it'll work. But with someone like Cheetah, it feels like she just straight up wasn't at the level of Wonder Woman. Whereas, I feel like it's really hard to put into words all of this. But I wanted to see something bigger when it comes to Wonder Woman going against something.
Right.
I like when it comes to when you come to Frank Castle versus Billy Russo, It's like this works because it feels like they're on the same level, not because it feels like it feels like it's not that it feels fair. It's that it has this thing that it's like when Punisher overcomes this, you're going to be able to believe in the fact that he's a bad motherfucker for doing it.
Right.
And whereas you have that, and more or less Wonder Woman going through Cheetah in that movie felt more like Batman the Brave and the Bold. It felt like a given, and it felt predictable for me.
Well,
and not
also
just
you
like
can
that
say,
it happened. I feel like in the way that it came down. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, no. If you're going to have a supercharged hero, you want to have a villain that it's the Kingpin Spider-Man type thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Kingpin feels like he should be way too damn much for Spider-Man. Like when you see the Kingpin character and you see him develop, and same thing with Daredevil. Like they built Kingpin to be this guy that you're like, there's no way this little skinny 200-pound like white dude is going to beat him. No.
He's going to beat Wilson Fisk, who is 400 pounds of scientifically broken down like 99% muscle, right? But yeah,
right.
The David versus Goliath story. I agree.
And that's what we want. And I think that you're right. They failed to build that mythos. Even with Max Lord, they failed to build that mythos for the Wonder Woman movie. You didn't really see a villain, either not Max Lord or Cheetah were really that villain that you were like, damn, Wonder Woman, you got your hands full here.
Yeah.
Nah, you kind of always knew Wonder Woman was going to come out on top. It was just a matter of how. You know, and so,
Maxwell Lord, it's different because it's like Maxwell Lord isn't even a physically imposing thing. It's about what he does with his mind.
Right.
And so, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you got to play up to that, and there was that missing. But all that being said, I still wouldn't sit here and be like, is that even the worst DC movie that's came out? Fuck no.
Not even close. Not even close. But let's give some nods real quick before we wrap this show up. Speaking of superheroes, I was just talking about this with a couple of friends the other day. People don't give enough respect to movies like Meteor Man. If you don't know it, go check it out. Robert Townsend is a fucking beast in that movie. Blank Man, Damon Wayans is a fool. These are movies that you would never really suspect to be superhero movies, and they seem kind of corny, but they were very well written, very well done. And really is a formula that a lot of superhero movies should follow. But at the end of the day, DC put out a movie that to me was as good as the first one. I say that only because I fell asleep during the first Wonder Woman. This one I didn't even fall asleep, and I was laying on a bed. So so at least it did. At least it kept me interested. I love the whole angle with her and Chris Pine, and the fact that she wished to get him back, and then she got him back, and she had to give him up because it was only right for her to rescind her wish. And I liked the whole thing. It was kind of goopy and lovey-dovey, but I liked it. Yeah, and for me, Gal Gadot is perfect for the role.
I won't refute that. I won't refute that. She was great for the role.
And I liked. Now, here's the one thing I did like about it. I love the fact that they made Linda Carter the first Amazonian.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
in our world. That
her being Linda Carter, the OG fucking Wonder Woman. That was fucking awesome. Like 100%. That was fucking awesome.
I was like, okay, you got me there with that one. Like, I love it. Yeah. But let's wrap this up by talking about this. Wonder Woman 84. Oh, yeah. Okay.
After that, I want to have one thought, and then you're
okay. Good. Oh, good. Wonder Woman 84. These will be final thoughts. We'll say. Wonder Woman 84 was released, and so will a bunch of other movies. Kong versus Godzilla will be released as well. In the theaters and on streaming sites at the same time. DC and HBO have vowed that, or Warner Brothers and HBO have vowed that none of the movies that are put on HBO Max you will be charged for. So as long as you have an HBO Max subscription, you can watch the movie for free for the first 30 days after it's released in the theater. You can watch it at home for free. There's a lot of people who are scared because they think this is the route, that this is going to kill movie theaters. I don't think so. I think there's still a large enough group of people out there that want to go and enjoy a theater experience. There's a lot more people like that than there are people like me that are like, fuck it. As soon as I get a place big enough, I'm buying an 80-inch, give myself some surround sound, and I'm never stepping foot in a movie theater again. I don't really need, that sitting in the movie theater, sitting next to somebody that I don't know feeling. I can live with being at home as long as I got a big screen. But I think that there's far more people that want that movie theater experience than there are not. So I don't think movies are going to die, but I think you open yourselves up to having so many more people view your product because people there are a significant amount of people like me, and we aren't through this whole coronavirus thing yet. So it's going to be a while before movie theaters are really going to be back open to the way they were a couple of years ago. So I think people need to get over this whole theory that movie theaters are going to die out and start embracing the fact that this is just going to be the new normal when it comes to movies. And when streaming services started getting, like Netflix started getting popular, I kind of felt this is the way it was going to end up going anyway. Eventually we're going to get to a point where a movie can be streamed at home, or you can go to the theater and watch it, and you'll have both options.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to either in many ways. Like for me, it's a settling thing. Like of course, when it comes to like AAA movies like Endgame, Infinity War, I do want to experience those in the movies. But am I going to sit here and tell you that it's inadequate if I can't experience that when watching the movie? Fuck no. It doesn't ruin the experience at all.
Surround sound.
Yeah, man. Easy. Less money that way, right?
Yeah.
Is the way I see it. But I don't think it's going to kill that. I think movies like Trolls 2, I don't know if you know, has grossed so much money from having not even hit the movies. It grossed millions of dollars purely online, and it set a huge precedent for movies going forward. And I don't think that's going to take over the movie landscape. But do I think that going forward that's going to be a possible option for a lot of different movies, whether or not we're in the pandemic? Absolutely. I think movies like Trolls 2 actually benefit a lot from it and should take that route. But am I going to sit here and tell you that every single movie should be that way? Hell no.
All right, brother. So what was your final point while we wrap this up?
All right. So I've gotten my hands on a lot of games in 2020, and 2020, as a result, there wasn't a lot of media that we got in forms of movies or video games. We didn't get a lot of stuff. And so that does narrow it down in terms of things like Game of the Year, right?
Right.
It narrows it down. And so recently I've gotten my hands on games like Jedi Fallen Order, which was fucking awesome. I got my hands on the new Jedi Rogue Squadron game, which is fucking awesome. I've gotten my hands on a shit ton of games. And maybe I'm a little biased here, but me, as the alpha, I need to reveal like a very, very serious aspect of my personality when it comes to the shit that I enjoy, all right? I fucking love SpongeBob, bro. like I fucking love SpongeBob. That's my shit, all right? If you don't like SpongeBob, you're a mark. You don't know what you're doing. SpongeBob is the tits. That all being said, SpongeBob has this anthology of games, of licensed games that have came out, Big no surprise, right? No surprise. Oop. There we go. But, like 14 years ago, a SpongeBob game came out, right? And it was called SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. And growing up, this is one of my favorite fucking games growing up. I loved the hell out of this game. I played it inside out growing up. And as of 2020, it actually got a massive remaster for gen consoles. It got a massive graphical remaster. It's running off a new engine, if I'm not mistaken, too. It's got a whole new thing, and it's I'm not even gonna fucking lie. Even biases aside, this is probably the best game of 2020 that I've played. My game of the year 2020, no bullshit, is probably SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. All things considered, just because,
Nice.
right? Like as a platformer alone, like as someone who loves platformers, it's an amazing platformer. It's a crazy fucking collectathon. Obviously, it's not the hardest game ever, but it does get pretty fucking difficult. It gets to some intense shit as it closes down. It's a crazy good fucking platforming game for as cheap as it is for a remaster of like a 16, 15-year-old game.
Okay.
You know, it's a great fucking platformer. It's way better than it has any right being on current gen fucking consoles.
Alpha stamp of
and
approval,
like, you know,
chunk.
Alpha stamp of approval. Oh yeah.
All right. So there you go, man. Like, I can tell you this, and I'll just say this as far as my video game content. I've been watching my games on NBA 2K21 for my Warriors, who are now 18-0, and my fiance commented the other day when I got done playing a game. I turned it off, and she goes, "Weren't you just watching the?" She goes, "Weren't you just watching the basketball game?" I was like, "Oh no, I was playing the basketball game." She was like, "That was the game?" Like,
that was the game?
Just like a real game. It looked like an actual basketball game.
Count the fucking pores in their skin, bro. I swear.
You know. So, all right, y'all. This will wrap up the first YouTube / Spreaker edition of the Cheap Pop Podcast. Hopefully, we'll be able to get this video up in the next couple of days. If it looks good, I'll go ahead and post it. Shoot you a link there, John. And if it don't, we'll shoot again. We'll try again next week a different way and see if we can record that one. But at least y'all will have the lovely audio version to listen to right here on Spreaker.com. Be sure to listen to the plethora of other shows we have here. Now Versus Then, Brick, Double K's Classroom, KD5P on Friday nights. Double K's Classroom now has a YouTube component to it that'll be going up as soon as I get that commercial from Saint. And yeah, expect to hear more from us in the future, y'all. We ain't dead. We may have been gone for a little bit, but we ain't dead. So y'all have a great one, and we'll call it a day and talk to y'all. Hopefully next week we'll be talking a lot of wrestling, because there's a lot of wrestling
coming at you hard.
on. Oh yeah. So till then, y'all, peace.
Peace.